So what does Ford do if all of a sudden something comes along that allows them to be more productive, they're more profitable, these machines can work 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, they don't need time off, and you're going to make a better product, you're going to make more money for your shareholders, the corporation succeeds,
Right.
but you don't need X amount of workers anymore.
Right.
How do you mitigate this?
I mean, that's the right question. And
Right.
I don't
What do
think,
you do?
All right, nobody has a simple answer. Let's just talk about it. Does corporate America have the right to say to workers throughout this country, hey, sorry guys, we don't need you anymore. Have a nice life. You're out on the streets.
Instead of thinking them as workers, should we think of them as, look, there are people that make the decisions. There's the executives. There's the corporation itself. But without the people that worked on those assembly lines, you have nothing.
That's right.
You have nothing. You couldn't have done any of the things you've done without those people. But those people are replaceable because it's skilled labor that you could teach another person to do, and they're replaceable because there's plenty of people that want those jobs and there's a demand. So you file them in, you file them out, which is why they developed unions, right? So they developed unions to keep people from being exploited.
Right.
And then the problem becomes the unions get exploited, and then the unions have a lot of money, and then there's a lot of influence, and then they decide, okay, fuck these unions, let's go to Mexico. And these laws that Ross Perot famously talked about, the giant sucking sound headed south.
I remember
that?
Ross.
Yeah.
Oh, I remember him well.
Boy, was he right.
Yeah.
Boy, was he right.
All right, let's get back to this issue of which.
What do you do, like, if you're the president?
There ain't no easy answers. Let me throw that out to you. I don't have a magical solution. I wish I did. I don't. I think the first thing, you say, all right, I'm Ford, I'm General Motors, I got all this technology, I can produce my products much more efficiently, I don't need workers anymore, right?
Right.
Well, I'm sorry, Mr. GM, and I'm sorry, Mr. Ford, because this country is more than just your profits. We got human beings, and you're not going to throw people out on the street, many of whom will have a hard time getting health care, et cetera, et cetera. So let me reframe the question again, of which admittedly it is complicated. I don't have the magic answer. How as a nation, forget Ford, forget General Motors, how as a nation do we deal with this exploding technology so that it benefits all of us and not just Mr. Ford and Mr. General Motors? That's the question, I think. All right, and it's going to require radical solutions. So for a start, it gets back to something we talked about a little while ago. If you had health care as a human right, right? Mm-hmm. All right? As people in almost every other wealthy country have, and not attached to your job, that would be a major step forward, right?
Yes, absolutely.
All right, Joe, you lost your job, but you know what? Your family still has health care. Okay.
Imagine if you were a diabetic and now you don't have access to insulin because now you no longer have. Right, okay.
So this is the way I frame it. We are the wealthiest country in the history of the world right now. With all of this artificial intelligence and robotics, we are going to be wealthier. Correct?
Correct.
All right. So we're not in the 1820s where people had to work 100 hours a week to grow food to eat, right?
Right.
You're not in the 1920s. You're in 2025. You have all of this productivity out there. How do we utilize it to create a decent standard of living for all people? Let me ask you this. With all of this technology, can we wipe out poverty in America?
Well, we should be able to,
Yeah,
right?
you should be
Well, we
able
should have been able to do that a long time ago if that was something that was
politically motivated,
Yeah.
right? If you wanted to. But it's easier now.
profitable.
Pardon me?
If it was profitable to wipe out poverty,
Well-
which it should be. Like overall, as a community, like I said, less losers, higher GDP.
If we love the country.
Yeah, if you really love America,
right.
you want more people to have a chance.
All right. So what kind that? All right. Good. I mean, so and again, please, these are complicated issues.